Welcome back, everyone, to WGLNA here of World of Tanks in Rancho Cucamonga, California. I was reminded by Rukil, thank you very much, that that video, while it is very relevant, there is one small detail that has to kind of be updated. They have changed the camouflage factor of fallen trees. They still provide some cover, but only 10% that of a bush. Now, we're getting ready for our third and final match of the night. It is going to be Last Orchestra / Vultures versus Lemming Mafia. We still have to find out who won, but I've been very excited about the couple of games. Let's talk about the previous series we just watched, River of Blood versus Chimera. Do you have any closing thoughts, gentlemen, on that series?
I'm thinking River of Blood is probably one of my favorite teams for this whole series. I'm thinking they're going to be one of our top 4. I'm hoping to see them.
You mean, for the qualifier?
Yeah.
I thought you meant for the entire season.
Well,
that's
maybe.
pretty early.
I mean, if they go through this qualifier, they've got good practice against a few decent teams.
Okay. Yeah.
They're going to be updated on what everyone's thinking.
Well, it is round of 32 that they advance from. So it's only, what, round of 16, round of 8, and they're in.
They just have to win 2 more.
2 more matches.
They're almost there, and they're a great team. I think they'll do well if they make it.
Well, keep in mind that, guys, that these qualifiers are for a spot in the WGL North America League. There's also leagues going on in Europe, Russia, as well as Korea. And we have one of the teams that was invited that qualified through the WCLs, the Major League Championship Series for World of Tanks earlier in the past month. Those are the 8 teams that qualify. One of them will be joining us on a Skype call later tonight. It's going to be Popstar, so you guys can look forward to that as we have one of the pro members will be coming on to the game.
That's right. But for now, it's just to let you guys know what they're fighting for. It's $100,000 for the prize pool for the eventual tournament that's going to happen July 11th. You can find out more information at WGLNA.com. Maybe, you guys got a couple of friends together. You want to just get a little bit of experience or try yourselves out for this $100,000 tournament. You can go ahead and go over there. 8 teams qualify. 8 teams are also seeded through invitations. 3 weeks of league match plays, and then we have our finals on August 17th and 18th. Please save up your money and get ready for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that, Frodan.
Yep. Looks like I do apologize. I was looking down because the game lobby has already been set. It's going to be Himmelsdorf to start off match number 3. Now let's go ahead and bring up the tank selection screen so that you guys can see what's been selected thus far. We have some pretty conventional picks. We have a couple of IS-3s, a couple of 5100s, but we also see a T-26E4. What do you guys think about that so far?
That is an interesting tank to choose, and actually, if played very well, could be very effective even against gold rounds. Super Pershing could, if, like I said, played well around some corners, you can use some of that well-sloped, spaced armor to bounce even the gold rounds. And it's just, I don't play it very well, but I've seen some excellent play, and maybe they've got one of those excellent Super Pershing players. Yeah,
Super Pershing definitely, the frontal armor can make a huge play considering how confrontational Himmelsdorf could be. But we haven't seen any slow games on Himmelsdorf yet. It's all been fast. It's all been fun. But we haven't seen the huge long games just yet.
But you can again see. I'm just looking at the details. Slayer 24 that will be playing that Pershing. Doesn't have any other tank unlocked at tier 8. So you can see he's just trying to use up the tier points in order to obviously gain the most out of it. 100 games, so it's a respectable amount.
I don't fear the man that knows 100 kicks that's done it one time. I fear the man that's done one kick. Well, isn't it 1,000 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000 times.
I've done
He's done it 100 times.
I fear the Super Pershing that's battled 124 times.
124.
Then 100. Then the man who's played 124 tanks
one time.
Let's get ready for our game on Himmelsdorf real quick.
That's deep, Frodan. That's
next
deep.
level.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and do some telestration from Rookhill. Give us in 15 seconds what we can expect in terms of map movement.
All right. Well, we've seen a whole bunch of teams pushing all the way down the 8 line here. We've seen Tank Alley, and we've actually even seen a 3-line push. These are 2 of the really strongest pushes we've seen the whole time. But I don't know. Maybe this time we'll see a nice slow play on the D line or the G line. I don't know what to expect out of these teams.
Lots of potential confrontation or turtle passive style. Let's see what's going to happen on Himmelsdorf. All right, let's go to the mini-map and immediately start talking about movement patterns. What do we see here, guys?
Well, we're seeing a nice split here in the north from... Who is this? This is... Excuse me, Lemming Mafia. Yes? Am I on the right side? Well, we've actually got a T1 moving up the 2 line here, getting way ahead, and he's going to be supported by an AMX 5100 Dragonfire. So we've actually got that spread I was talking about in the south here. Tanks taking up positions, nice spread. IS-3s looking up the window, seeing if they can see another IS-3 or 5100, maybe try and peek around and get a nice shot into his turret. NIV-13's taking up a position in the window. I'm expecting we'll see. Do we have any tanks actually over there in the train station?
Yes, we
We do.
We have 2 tanks, a T1 and an IS-3 played by Shocked Quartz and NIV-13 respectively. But really, the red team is looking to just defend against the tank alley. That's where all the tanks are really positioned well. The T1 is going up just to scout out a little bit, and it looks like they're going to swoop around, maybe go for the castle.
All right, well, just to get everything straight, blue team is Lemming Mafia, whilst the red team should be Last Orchestra. Just to straighten things out for us, guys. Sorry there. And we're actually seeing a T1 up to the hill. We've got 2 IS-3s. Let's see how they're actually playing on their corner. Actually, that's a T-34 and a T-26 playing on the corner of the 8 line. I wouldn't have expected that. We've actually got Slayer hull down behind IRS Venom. I would have said to put Slayer out first, sharply angle his front armor, and then put the T-34 behind him to use his front armor as hull down. That would have been an incredibly strong position to take, but they've decided to switch it up. Maybe they could improve that the next time they play.
Yeah, and it looks like they'll keep that formation for a while because they know that their opponents will be traversing the 8 line as well as the 0 line. Well, very soon they'll discover, as currently we see that Lemming Mafia is down 1 tier 1 tank. Dance 210 has to be very careful because they could be down 2.
We're already 7 minutes and about 30 seconds, and we haven't seen a big push. This is going to be a slow match. I'm really hoping Last Orchestra can take advantage of this T1 that they've gotten ahead on and make a push somewhere. They've got tanks spread out. They
do have a little bit of an indication right now. NIV-13 was able to spot out an I think it was the IS-3 all the way across the center location. So it might give them the trigger to actually make a move all the way on the 0 line.
And it looks like there's some pings going out, people communicating. We've got a T1 moving around on the hill. I'm thinking we're going to see a confrontation very soon from those T1s.
Yes, sir.
All right, so
there they go.
First T1s have been spotted. Wraith Wrath against Dance 210. This could swing the battle in either team's favor. Ring Wraith trying to get a good position. Both of these opponents keep missing. Looks like Dance 210 will get the first strike, though.
On the other side of the map, doesn't look like anyone's actually going to be doing much of anything to take advantage of this little distraction. Sometimes teams get distracted watching T1s fight.
That's right, but I love the position Wraith has gone into. Dance has a lot of trepidations going across here because there can be a potential tank rounding the corner to defend. And just as I say that, MFX is going to come in here, so Dance has to make a move. You got to go for it. You're dead anyway. And he's not gonna, he's just gonna stand there. He doesn't even see him.
Aww.
Boom.
Tunnel Vision was the last dance there for the T1 as MFX able to finish it off. And all of a sudden, instead of having 1-1, we have a 2-point advantage in terms of the scouts.
Yep, now now Last Outrun has control of the hill. They can really abuse this. They can pick a T1, and they might be able to push onto cap, distract there, maybe do a screen like we've seen before, but it's down to 5 minutes, so they really have to get moving, or else maybe we could see a draw here, and there's not enough points yet to use that 8-point rule to get a victory.
That's right. I mean, that's the big problem we see here from Last Orchestra. They have a big positional problem. They don't have a lot of space to deal with. They're working on the back line in A and B this whole game. So not only do they have to take the map first, anywhere from C to, let's say, H, but then they can go for something like a cap. So realistically, we can have just straight out draw here just because of a lack of activity for position.
Well, the game is only halfway over. 5 minutes down, 5 to go. Still no movement from the Super Pershing as well as the T-34. Slayer and Venom being very cautious down the 8 line.
Yep. But Dragonfire has actually moved back into his own base to defend against what he assumes could be an IS-3 moving down into the backfield along the K line. Now, he's not going to find anything there because I'm pretty sure that IS-3 is backed off and is still on the hill. But it looks like, is that in the northwest? Are they getting ready for a push?
They are getting ready for a push. They rerouted most of their tanks, and they're looking to go up the west-hand side, having only an AMX 5100 and Wraithwrath on that T1.
Tank J's about to cross into the open, might get spotted.
No spots yet.
Oh, he's going to barely... Oh, that was close.
Tank J was not spotted at all.
Those IS-3s are blind. They do not have the view range to see him. And Tank J looks like he has camo on his tank that gives him a little boost to get through. He has a slightly higher camo rate than an unpainted tank. You can buy that with gold and silver. Gives you a little bit boost, so you just don't get spotted a few more meters.
Huge risk, but definitely a hefty reward for Tanky J, as now they can take a good defensive position on the flag. And it looks like Lemming Mafia wants to play this one really defensive all the way through from start to finish.
Yeah, Tank J's position is interesting. I believe he's preparing for the enemy to come around one way or the other so he can drive forward or backwards, but he's going to get out of that position. It was a bit strange. I think he was doing an active scout run before, scouting with an IS-3. Bit strange, but, I mean, maybe it works.
Well, if it hurts, it works. In this case, IS-3 can scout and deal some pretty good punishment, but just like you said, lack of view range has been both enemies' worst nightmares when it comes into the railroad tracks.
I mean, realistically, Last Orchestra should be making some sort of push here. They're the ones that, if they lose a tier 8, it's still okay because their opponents don't have that 8-point advantage. They're going to spot out Tanky J here, and he might be the first one they go for.
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh.
Instead of a reversal, Dash Slippo able to take out Shocked Quartz and a huge one-shot wonder, but of course T1s don't really hold up well to IS-3s, do they, Rukil?
No, they don't. We've got Tanky J and Dragonfire moving up, smashing at each other, not quite on the same page for everything. Dragonfire's going to peek out, but he's going to, and so is Tanky J. They're going to expose themselves to fire from 3 IS-3s. No, 4 IS-3s coming in, and here they go.
Knock, knock, who's there? IS-3 times 4. Dragonfire completely surrounded. He drops down. Tanky J, he's up next on the firing order. He takes some pretty big fires from NIV-13, and MFX is advancing. Where are the other members from Lemming Mafia? MFX able to get the surround. Caesar finishes off. Meanwhile, Dash Lepo still manages to pick off another kill, so it's not all bad for Lemming Mafia, but still, Last Orchestra in a dominating position.
Yeah, that T-34 and the Super Pershing were not prepared to come back. They're also very, very slow. So because they were so out of position, they were not ready to come back and defend their own base against such an attack with 4 IS-3s.
13 seconds on the clock, and you can see that Mafia is trying to struggle back into position. They do manage to get a shot, but it didn't last for very long as MFX able to get another poke off. 10 seconds remaining. Wraithwrath's trying to do something, but T1, you're just watching Mommy and Daddy fight right now.
Yep, here we go. Explosive Brutality in the backfield is taking down Slayer. There he goes. T-34 is the only real tank left. Actually, excuse me, Das is still alive. I'd forgotten about him over there. I was expecting to aggress more, but he's holding way back right now.
That's right, and he is getting fired. Oh, he will be lit up pretty soon.
At this point, Last Orchestra just needs to push, take out Das, and then turn around for the T-34.
Yeah. NIV-13, he's advancing on Dash Lippo, IS-3 duel, but Dash Lippo doesn't have much HP to work with, only 277. No, it's stolen by Caesar, but at this point, kill secured as 7 down for Mafia. And Last Orchestra will take game number 1. Pretty exciting finish.
Yeah, Last Orchestra had, you know, that's the power of the 2 tier 1 kills. I mean, even if you lose a tier 8, you can just back up and be fine with it and say, okay, well, there's a 6-point discrepancy here. That's still not enough to get you that win. That's why it's so important. Do not lose your T1s in the beginning phase because you lose a lot of tempo control and you give the ball to your opponents.
Yep, no vision across the western side. Really opened up opportunity for Last Orchestra, just like you were saying, Rukil, and even Greetorp. Last Orchestra need to make a play, but they made a strong 4 IS-3s out of seemingly nowhere. Completely surprised the 2 IS-3s defending.
Yep, they could have led the way probably with, I'm thinking both T1s. Do they have both T1s at the end?
They only had one.
They only had one.
Okay. One of them went on the outside. I think maybe they could have sent it on the inside with the way they brought their IS-3s up. he probably could have at least shown them that there were tanks waiting there. I mean, the surprise was effective enough, but there was a chance that they could have gotten caught out on the open.
Yeah.
And that could have really slowed down their push. At the same time, with the spread that we saw out of Lemming Mafia, it was pretty easy to push in like that.
Can they realistically, I mean, yes, they can be caught out on the western flank, but they already know an AMX 5100 is on the top of that castle. So there's already that eastern flank that we have to be very careful about. Of course, the western flank is always a top thing that you have to be careful for as well on a map like that. So I feel like, them not having T1s really force them into a position where they are always going to, or not maybe always, but maybe 70% of the time, they're going to be caught out, right? It's either they get caught out or they're too close together, and of course they're going to be surrounded from multiple sides with that T1 able to spot exactly where they are and where they are not.
Yeah, but the thing is they did not adjust after their T1s went down. They stayed in the same positions. They didn't do anything to change their position, adjust it, try and take advantage of the fact that there were tanks on the hill to try and maybe push in, jump on something, maybe you have to return to base, but at the same time, they didn't really do anything after they lost their T1s. They let their T1s fight. They didn't support them at all. And they didn't really accomplish anything with any of those T1s. They got a little spotting, but that was it.
Yeah, and those are expensive wards, if I do say so myself.
Yes.
But that being said, Last Orchestra up 1-0.
Yep, they take game number 1. An exciting game number 1 finish on Himmelsdorf. We're going to find out what's going to happen in map number 2 right after this commercial break. You're watching WGLNA.
LN?
You had a stroke. I know.
We'll be right back.
We are
Thank you very
on
much, Miserable. And we're going to resume back into our match. Ruenberg has already started, so let's get into game number 2 right now.
We've got actually Trevor from Lemming Mafia booking it right down the middle here. We're going to see where he gets up to. And when we come in, we're going to actually see T1 has gone off to the west. We're seeing the Lemming Mafia. They're going to start out with an east side push.
Yeah, not so much for Last Orchestra, though. They are heading into the city directly. A T1 being played by, let me see who that is. He's being played by Wraith, excuse me. He's going to head into the west side. Just check. I like his positioning. He's crossing over the tracks, or excuse me, the road, to make sure he has a little bit of cover. He's just not, on top of that road, really is in a great position. But they are hugging the church. A lot of what we were saying before when we were breaking down this map.
Yeah. We've got actually a T-32 picked this time and a T-34 for the Lemming Mafia. Very interesting and diverse setup. Only 2 IS-3s, and then they finish it up with a T-69. That's a really interestingly rounded group. If they play it well, I think they could actually do something with this. But they're not supporting their T1 in the west a lot. He's out there kind of as a tripwire, but in the meantime, they're going to begin pushing the east, the Delta Village here.
Yes, okay.
Let's go ahead and pull up the mini-map so we can see what the team's movement patterns are exactly, as we might have the initial clash. But just like you can see, going for the city, Rookhill, and that's not really what we've been pointing at the entire time. We've been pointing towards the Delta Village whenever we telestrated over potential strategies. How is this going to fan out, do you think?
I'm thinking this T1 over here in E2 is going to get noticed, and once anything gets spotted out here in the Delta Village, we're going to see a nice push up north.
To let you know, they already spotted him. Last Orchestra saw that there was a T1 right there, and now they're just going to try to, I guess, confirm.
Well, now they've confirmed that there's a T1 in the middle, and we're seeing the final T1 move up, and there's tanks lit in the east. So we might see a move here from the Last Orchestra in just a moment.
Oh, no, Last Orchestra's just staying put.
Oh, they should really capitalize on this.
Yeah, they haven't moved the muscle, which tells me they have no more attacking options. I mean, they really have to be careful for that fast cap. Maybe not yet, because the opposing team hasn't really taken advantage. They should be taking out Wraith ASAP.
Yeah, Lemming Mafia doesn't, though. I don't think they know that there are a bunch of heavies in the southwest and not out east. They don't know Last Orchestra doesn't have tanks over in, for example, K0 to get shots on the tanks in the west. If there were heavy tanks out in the west, we'd see some great fire on anyone attempting to try and take out this T1.
Rukil was illustrating on his screen. You guys didn't catch it, but for the most part, just like he was saying, we need some movement over here on the western side. Shot Quartz coming in here with his T1. It's a T1 fight. Trevzer immediately spotting, and this could be very vital considering how much spot Trevzer gets a money shot, and Shot Quartz will drop, and that's first blood for Lemming Mafia.
Really unfortunate, but, you know, the position of Trevzer was a lot better. He has that little slope of dirt to really help out. The IS-3s will start to push up and aggress on in the F3 file around there. They're going to go to take out this T1, but the T1 has a lot of cover, and I have to feel like...
No,
well,
he's gone.
He got ammo racked, and just like that, the T1s have been traded, but for valuable information, Trevzer, was your death in vain? We'll find out with the next movements from Lemming Mafia.
Okay.
Lemming Mafia is way too far out of position to have gotten shots on those IS-3s. They should have been a little further west, and they would have had draw distance to see those tanks. The game does have a maximum distance that you can actually that a tank will actually be displayed, and while you could see it on your mini map, you cannot actually see it in game sometimes.
Wraithwrath is going to see that Venom's popping out here with his T-34, and he will also see Tanky J come out. Tanky J gets shot from far away from the IS-3s. Niv 13 was able to hit that shot, and he's going to get blown up because he's tracked. Oh, no, he's not. I'm
Niv
sorry.
and Tanky J exchanging blows, but here comes another shot as well. And you can see a huge fray coming down the middle line of Ruinberg here, but at the same time, no real threats. Neither team really wants to commit.
Tanky J just got blown up, standing on top of that road. He really should not be there. You wanna place yourself behind a building or something, but at this point, I mean, there's just such a big advantage now for last Orchestra.
Dance is going to come out and spot all of the tanks that matter and back off. I'm expecting Phantom and Explosive Brutality just go right on over and kill Dance. As Lemming Mafia hasn't done a great job here of supporting any of their T1s, so no one's going to pay at all for taking down a T1. Maybe this T69. Dragonfire is firing on Phantom Bari, who was, I think, going for a ram instead of wasting one of his very crucial shells.
Like. And Phantom didn't know where those shots were coming. Well, he knew where, but he didn't know who was firing those shots.
Yep.
Nobody was lit up at that point.
Dance manages to get away, probably a poor choice on part of a 5100 to hold a shell. With tanks actually, looks like they're returning to base, getting ready to defend against a cap. We've got a T-34 hull down behind a fountain here in the field, and a T-32 Luballs is waiting. He's going to be waiting with his T-69 to spot some tanks as they approach the cap.
Okay, well, everybody's grouping up on this west side from last Orchestra. Even Wraithwrath coming all the way from the east side is going to swing over here. And they're going to find a little friend, Dance 210, right out in the open. Boom. He goes down. And now this is where last Orchestra really has the momentum, and they're going to be the ones dictating where and when the attack happens. Of course, they're going for this cap. They're really expecting them to be there. They don't know exactly. There's a couple of options that they can do. They can just send up Wraithwrath and really see relative positions and then strike knowing where they are. Or they can play it really methodical, spread the map out, and go for a gigantic flank. It looks like they're just heading up into the west field.
And Caesar and Niv are up, and they're going to take fire from Dragonfire and Luballs, who are just wasting shells and not getting quite the hits they need to on these advancing IS-3s. Although the return fire isn't all that spectacular either, as many shells are hitting the ground and the house right next to them.
They only know about Luballs, and he went dark right there. So right now they have no clue what's going on or where they're positioned. That's why I think they need to spread the field out a little bit. Of course, they can be subject to being isolated, but I feel like this might incur some unnecessary shots. Still, they are a tank up.
Dashlipo is moving on to about the C5 corner of his own cap. He's getting ready to proxy spot any tanks that would come on to begin cap. And there's the beginning of cap as Toon in an IS-3 takes cover behind. Are those the supplies? No. He is actually out in the open. Yeah. Completely exposed. That's not going to be good for him.
Phantom Bari, he's also right around the corner trying to see if he can maybe bait Dashlipo.
Oh!
Nice shots on Niv 13. Keep in mind that last Orchestra does have a tier point advantage. Niv 13 gets really low, 44 health. Great, big shot from Venom. At the same time, Dashlipo has to be very cautious.
Oh, what an unfortunate RNG 23741 has 8 hit points left. Dashlipo had a really nice target, but he's now going to pay for it. They just do not have enough DPS.
Dashlipo goes down. It looks like this might be a blue base capture.
Yeah, 76, 77%. There's only 15 seconds left. Oh, they actually reset it. Excuse me.
Good resets. Venom raining from all the way up and down to the fountain over in the TIE Fighter. Lubal still trying to get an angle. Dragonfire getting really low. The T-69 must survive. Another shot from Phantom Bari is going to whiff. And right now, Last Orchestra still putting on pressure. 8 seconds left to go.
That's right. They need to make a move really, really quickly. Dashlipo, I think, is
and tanks are going to go dark because we don't have anyone spotting on the cap.
That's
Every
right.
tank, Explosive Brutality gets spotted. Now they're lit.
Oh, unfortunate. T-69 gets taken out by Dashlipo. He was clipping for quite a long time, but Luballs is still in there, in that little cubby between the two. And he's going to try to save the cap, but he keeps missing some shots.
Lubal's taking big hits. Sure, you got a lot of turret armor, but you can't take out all 4 at one time.
5 seconds left on cap. Iris Venom, a big slow T-34, probably isn't going to be able to make it back in time to delay the cap any further, and that's it. A base capture.
Is captured.
Last Orchestra with a Game 2 victory here on the battlefield of Ruinberg. Well played in terms of being able to capitalize on their positioning. You even said it yourself, Rookkill, a little bit too out of position for Mafia. I mean, how could have played their position a little bit better?
They probably should have returned more of their tanks closer to the corner and been more prepared for that assault on their own base. Because they weren't prepared to shoot at tanks that were coming down a big, long road. You saw those IS-3s coming down that road, completely exposed. That was the perfect time to put a few free shots on tanks that were moving that you probably weren't going to return any good shots. I mean...
Yeah, and you know what? Anytime you have, I think it goes all the way back to early game. Anytime you have those T1s spotting for you, you need, if they get caught out, you need to punish that. You need to actually take space, take some sort of control on the map, because you know those T1s are baiting, let's say, an AMX 50-100 fire, T-69 fire, whatever it might be. That whole tank is displaced out of a position where you can go and aggress up on. But they were super just defensive in that eastern village, and I feel like they could have made a lot of space with that time going on in the city.
Lemming Mafia has really failed to adjust properly to a lot of the attacks that are coming against them and to losing their T1s. You see them not reacting at all to when a T1 spots anything, or to when the T1s really do anything at all. Lemming Mafia really needs to try and play this more aggressively, more proactively, to take control of the map and set the tone and the pace.
And I can understand, though, there's a lot going on. They still don't know. They're breaking it down a little bit, playing a slower game, saying, okay, we know this is there. We know this is here. What do we do?
Exactly.
But those key 5 to 10 seconds are really the timing window where you have to act. And you have to almost simulate these positions in your head before you're going into the game. Else, you're going to spend too much time thinking about what to do.
That is exactly why practice is so important. So many teams don't know how to react to so many situations, and practice. You have to practice, and most teams, the only way they can practice is by going into training rooms and just throwing down a million credits, playing an evening with another team.
Well, hopefully they can get things together for game number 3. Right now, Lemming Mafia is down 0-2. How will they respond in match number 3? We'll find out right after this break. Welcome back, everyone, to WGLNA, where we're in the middle of a series between Lemming Mafia and Last Orchestra. Let's go into the game stats screen, where we're just sawing the... Oh, actually, let's go into instant replay first. How about that? Okay, you're the boss, technical director. Let's talk about what's happening here, Rookkill, some of the final moments here as Last Orchestra initiate the cap.
Yep, we've got an IS-3 that tried to get out and take a cheap cross into the corner here so he could get in cover, but he was out in the open, and he took a few free hits there, along with Riv, who was under cover of a bush for a moment, but then got spotted and almost goes down. He's at about, 44 health or something around that. He is one shot away from death. Any tank hits him, even an HE shell. And then we have tanks begin to migrate in behind the healthier 5100 and IS-3 chilling out on that corner, playing corner games here. But we still have a T-69 and a T-32 wider out, and they do a great job of hitting a target, taking down that IS-3.
I have to say that Lou Balls did a really good job trying to keep resetting the caps, doing major damage.
Yeah, he spread those shots around very, very well, and he delayed it as long as he could, but it just wasn't enough. There was a T-32 out at that fountain. He could have been maybe 200 meters closer up on the corner behind one of these trucks. These are destructible trucks right out here. He can take cover behind those and play corner games that with those IS-3s using the hull down of the trucks, most people will hesitate to shoot a truck, especially a destructible cover, because it wastes your shell and gives the enemy an opportunity to shoot you freely, because you're not going to be able to put a shot on them if they expose their sides or something.
But one thing, I mean, yes, it's great that he spread out the shots to stop the cap, but in reality, if you just disregard the cap altogether, that's great for Last Orchestra. They want you to spread out the shots, because then they can directly focus on single tanks and take out that damage altogether. Of course, their positioning not necessarily the best for them to do that, but when it mattered, they were able to take out key tanks and just remove them from the field, even though they had a positional disadvantage.
Big plays from Explosive Brutality as he was adding 2,300 damage and securing 3 kills for his team. Definitely have to tip my cap, especially with the way he was handling the whole Dodge Slippo situation over by the cap. As you can see in the tank selection screen, we have some initial picks, very similar for Lemming Mafia. They're going to go as a 32 and a 34 from the American tank line, but they're also going to incorporate some of the old as well, a 69 and a Super Pershing. We see right now double 32 and a Locust coming out thus far for Last Orchestra, a Locust light tank. What do you think about that, Ruko?
Locust is probably one of my favorite Tier 3 light tanks. I think it's, as far as its ability to go fast, and it has a very a good gun. Not great, not the best gun at Tier 3, but certainly very, very effective, and if played well, Locust can actually do quite a bit of damage.
I don't think there's been a game yet where I've played a Locust and haven't tracked myself one time or another.
Driving over those hills, not watching out. We've seen a few matches where people have gotten themselves messed up, not driving straight.
They can fly, man.
They can really fly.
I feel like Willie every single time.
Yeah.
That's right. So we're getting the last couple of picks here. An AMX 50-100, pretty standard. Now keep in mind, guys, that this is Steps. Steps a much more open map than what you're used to. It reminds me kind of Prohorovka, although we haven't seen that today just yet.
We haven't.
No, we haven't.
But it is very open.
Yeah, but this will be, what is it, the second time we've seen Steps today?
That's right.
Second time we've seen Steps today. And the first time we saw it, it was a really interesting match. I thought it was going to go one way. Then it flipped around on its head.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, we could see anything here. We're actually going to see a GW Type E. That's a really strong arty. And actually...
Tier 8 arty.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yep. And if we'd seen perhaps a higher tier, like a Tier 2 or Tier 3 light tank, out of Lemming Mafia, maybe, let's see, out of Lemming Mafia, he would have been rendered almost obsolete because of the heavy armor of a GW Type E.
All right, well, the countdown has begun. We have 20 seconds left to get into the game. Let's get ready for game number 3 here on Steps.
Third battle, Last Orchestra up 2-0. Can they take the sweep with a 3-0 win in this match? We're going to find out. Rukil, take it away.
Yes. All right. Well, there are 2 main directions that most teams will choose. They'll either head east or head west. And once they do that, generally you'll see fights, at least in pub matches, around this area. And there's a nice rock right over here. We'll generally see something, but we're going to see a scout run, double scout run.
Wow.
Right there, and we're going to probably see a few loops be made, and we've got a scout coming out here, if you see there, out in the west, but at the same time, Lemming Mafia isn't getting their 2 scouts quite as far. So I don't know what to expect out of this. There are some heavies hanging way back, not supporting their scouts. They really need to be doing that.
Explosive Brutality getting the scout on a couple of members from the Mafia, but trying to hope that the artillery was able to get a shot, but they miss, and Dragonfire is able to secure the kill. An important scout already down for Last Orchestra.
Especially when you are running an arty run. Scouts are 10 times more important than when you're not. So losing him already is a big blow. They're going to have that T-52 just swinging out there and, sweeping the field, trying to spot people as best as possible. But it is damn difficult, man.
Yeah. Although we see Dragonfire here, Lou Balls making a little bit of a move. We've got Lemming Mafia trying to take a little control of this map here, trying to set a tone. If they push up, maybe they can get somewhere. But the thing is, with that GW Type E, it's going to be rough if they get spotted out.
That's right. And just to let you know, Last Orchestra is building it very defensively. They have three heavy tanks just sitting, defending this arty. And then, of course, the two-tier two light
Nice
tanks.
hit on Niv right there. Dragonfire peeking out and getting Niv just in the very tiny window that he had to get that shot off. Niv's probably going to come around, though, I think, and continue spotting. He should probably back off at this point. They know where the enemy is, and they probably need to try and make a more conservative scout run.
Yeah.
If Niv stays back where he was, it's too obvious, and he's going to take more shells. Enemies are ready for it now.
Definitely so. I mean, I think... what do you think about like them switching up, letting the T-52, played by Niv, just be a little bit more passive, the arty turn, and we focus on the eastern side?
There's another shot out. He's doing the same
goodness.
thing over again, falling into patterns.
Yes.
Scouts need to avoid falling into patterns. It's tempting that she'll get the same lights over and again because you know where tanks will be, you know who's going to be where, but falling into patterns like this is a great way to get yourself killed by an enemy sitting still with a perfectly zoomed reticle ready for you.
Yeah, that reticle is prepared for those light tanks coming out there. And you can see Niv already paying for it, almost dead here. He's going to try to still be relevant, but really we haven't had any activity coming out from Last Orchestra other than a heavy tank coming up here. MFX and Caesar just going to defend the, what is it, the eastern flank.
Well, Trevzor did drop, and that's going to make it a little bit tougher. If they lose their other scout, then Mafia won't be covering the western side whatsoever, and maybe Last Orchestra can make a push off of that knowledge, but we'll have to see what happens over in the eastern side of the map.
They're going to switch out here. Niv's going to go completely back, and they're going to push out the two heavy tanks, maybe try to get some stagnation in fights, and then obviously using their arty to do a little bit more damage when it comes to the
All right, let's hop on the Greed Torb screen then and see what Last Orchestra is planning as we see a push-up on the eastern side here.
Oh, they're going to spot him. And there are a ton of tanks. They need to retreat. How can they do that, though?
Forward is the best direction. Backing up at this time, they're going to take way more damage. And at GW Type E, one-shotted IRS Venom there. Wow. Yep, that is the power of a Tier 8 arty right there. And GW Type E hits harder
big
than
shots.
a 261 we saw yesterday.
On Dash Flippo as well. Caesar trying to control the high ground. Dragonfire coming for a flank. MFX taking big damage as well on his T-32. Good auto load damage as well as speed on Dragonfire is going to push back this western flank from Last Orchestra, and Lemming Mafia making a massive assault here on the western side of steps.
Yep, Last Orchestra might be able to pull out this as Dash Schleppo is ammo wrecked. He's going to have a huge reload time on his IS-3. That's really going to affect the way he plays. And ammo wreck increases your reload time by a significant margin. Dragonfire, though, has not been critted at all. He's doing just fine, just taking a little damage here. But Dash Schleppo is really, this is going to affect his game.
Quite so, and you can see that even Niv is trying to get into a position where he can be a little bit relevant, trying to get up the flank, pushing them back just ever so slightly. You can see Dragonfire's positioning is backed up, but we still have the same engagement. And let me tell you, Last Orchestra loves this position because there will be hell rained down pretty soon, giving more time for that artillery.
And over on the other side of the map, Wraith was able to take out Dance 210, so there's not a lot of scout opportunities, although Dragonfire able to snipe Niv, so the T-52 is down. No more scouts for either team. It may not matter because Lemming Mafia is making a big push on the western side.
Nice. Phantom's going to actually hit from behind the IS-3. Dash Lippo goes down, and Lou Balls is going to turn around. That triggers Caesar and MFX to just push up in. Down goes another tank, and Slayer 24 will be focused down. Beautifully played by that AMX 5000.
Caesar misses a shot going for the top hatch of the Super Pershing. The weak points on the Super Pershing, there are two main ones that I'll tell you about. The top hatch and shooting right on the lower cheeks, I'll call them, of the turret of the Super Pershing. And he went for the hatch shot, but he missed it. So, but it's not going to save it.
Second time's a charm. Caesar finishes off the kill. And there's only one member of Lemming Mafia remaining. It is Dragonfire and his AMX 5100.
And we've seen AMX 5000s pull off some really exquisite stuff on this map. Can we see it here It's going to be tough, man. I mean, not only do you have an arty to worry about, but you have an AMX 50-100 and 2 T-32s to deal with. That is a tall task for anybody. I think I could do it with my T1 Cunningham, though.
Good luck with that. I don't think Dragonfire has much of a chance, though. He looks like he's going to go try and find Shocked Quartz out in the backfield, while the rest of the heavies aren't even going to probably be able to return back to base in time. He's going to go for Shocked Quartz. Maybe they won't try and cap him out, but, you know, here's to hoping he's going to try and salvage the situation.
I mean, I think, honestly, that's the best thing he could possibly do. You have such little equity in everything that you do. Maybe a cap would work, or at least taking out the big artillery, but at this
is
point,
the last hope for Lemming Mafia. Dragonfire trying to peruse the perimeter of the back parts of last Orchestra's base, hopes in finding a Shocked Quartz and taking out their artillery, but it's getting pretty low, as you can see in the mini-map. It's pretty well spread here for last Orchestra.
Although when I look at the main mini-map here, I see an artillery piece out in, is that A8? And with a heavy tank covering him, I don't think there's going to be much of a chance for Dragonfire to kill anyone else in this game.
Phantom is just lining up the shot. He's expecting his opponent to just go over to that cap. Doesn't really matter, though. Dragonfire is spotted right now in that T-69. AMX 50-100 is going to be tracked. And, his engine smoking.
3 in a row. Dragonfire trying to make a miracle happen.
4 for 4. Very nice from him.
And he's going to back up. Not a single point of damage being done, but 30 seconds. At least maybe he can take out that AMX 50-100 and say, no, you have to spend more silver on this team.
Dragonfire is going to have to try to find something, but only 15 seconds left. So at this point, Dragonfire pretty much out of options, has to be super aggressive. That's exactly what Phantom Bar would like.
Oh, big miss.
Dragonfire gets the shot off.
Miss
but at this
and
point,
a bounce there from Phantom Bari. Really not waiting for his shots to get on target, and maybe not even shooting gold rounds.
But Shocked Quartz going to get the wrap out kill.
TD mode, GW Type E, man.
3-0 for last Orchestra as they sweep Lemming Mafia for their round of 16 berth. 3 O's all day long, 9 games, and 2 teams victorious throughout the night. Lots of great games, guys. Let's talk a little bit about what just happened. Maybe even look at the damage report. Things were looking pretty good for Lemming Mafia for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, what happened?
Yeah, well, Dragonfire did great damage the whole match, getting some nice damage on a T-52, and then able to actually even follow him and cover his man, his TAC-2, through the rest of the match, taking him out. But at the same time, this GW Type E Shocked Quartz was putting shot after shot on target.
Yeah, just unreal. and keep in mind, Dragonfire, his damage done is a little bit inflated. We're going to minus maybe 800 to 900 hit points just because of that AMX 50-100. The game's already over at that point. So we're looking at only around 2,000. Still really good match for him.
What I'm looking at, Andre, is the lack of other tanks doing damage. Lemming Mafia kept missing when it mattered the most. Even though Dragonfire was from the flank, so technically his position is easier to shoot the opponent, we need more from the T-32. We need more from Venom. We need more from Lou Balls. Where was the Lou Balls from game number 1 on Himmelsdorf?
And remember, they have the really nice pick-off. Not only were they able to take out the Locust, but they also got heavy damage on that T-52. So for them to push up the eastern side, it seemed really reasonable, right? But they didn't get the right shots when it mattered.
Yeah, not getting those shots on target really killed them. I mean, they had, 1, 2, 3 tier 8 tanks that weren't able to get their shots on target. I mean, that really just isn't, they were not doing what they needed to do. And that's just,
what I think they should have done, and of course I'm not a pro, but this is just my opinion. What I think they should have done was just pushed up a lot heavier on the eastern flank. You know, if they're running arty, they're not having all their tanks in one single area defending, let's say, the eastern flank. They have to be reasonable. They have to spread it out and defend the western portion and the eastern portion. So take all your tanks and drive right through. Go right up neck and neck and try to just take out as many as possible, because you know, overall, you will get good equity from that type of movement.
Yep. They probably could have tried to bait out a shot from the GW Type E and then maybe tried to use their extra tier 8 tank to try and begin an engagement. The GW Type E's long reload being a huge window for them to attack on an enemy with a tier 8 down. So.
All right, cool. So that wraps up that game in the series. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have closing thoughts, post-series analysis, as well as our giveaway with Rotterdam with gold that you guys have been waiting for. This is WGLNA. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back once again to WGLNA. If you're just tuning in, we just had our last matches of the day between Lemming Mafia and Last Orchestra. Don't worry, there's going to be a rebroadcast tomorrow morning as well, and you can catch all our VODs at youtube.com/WGLNA. Now, Andre, Rukil, we had some great matches of the day. We can even reflect upon the previous one, but I want to ask you guys, what was your favorite match?
Favorite match? Which River of Blood match would have been my favorite? They were all pretty good. River of Blood played really aggressively all day, but let's pick. I really liked it when they turned it around on steps. I mean, I really thought they were going to lose for a minute there, and they turned it around and completely took the match. I was really impressed with that.
Backwards, that's also how they were going to lose too.
Yeah, I think that might have helped. But yeah, I was really confused there for a minute when they took the game. I mean, there you go.
You know, I really like this series, to be completely honest, when we had Lemmings against, now I'm blanking.
Last Orchestra.
Thank you, Last Orchestra. I felt like the teams were a little bit more even. I don't want to take anything away from River of Blood, but they just outclassed their opponents. So I felt like it was a really easy battle for every single one. But this last series was a lot more even, and I felt like it was really, really fun to watch.
Definitely a good play from Shot Quartz in the previous game in his Tier 8 artillery. Also want to give a shout out to Lou Balls in that Ruinberg game. That was really fun. I meant Ruinberg. I said Himmelsdorf in the previous break. Lots of fun matches today, and we realized that we've been promising a lot of gold give-outs throughout the night, and so we have. And we have done it through social media. We have some people who submitted some cool photos, and so we want to congratulate the winners and show them off to the stream. So this is our favorite tank. It's the best tank picture. This one is really nice. It says, at WGLNA, victory. I can't read that far. The next picture is this awesome tank getting major air off of a sick ramp. This is awesome. Andre, you're talking about how you do this all the time with the Locust.
Hey, man. You just got to YOLO sometimes.
I take my T50-2 and sometimes just dream.
And this is Mr. Bitter right here. This is what he likes to do.
Tank catapult.
Tank catapult.
Lumba style.
Yeah.
I wish they had one of these at the top of Cliff, the map, and you can just honestly squish any single tank.
Oh yeah, get a good run off there. You'll smush someone.
Get some good minutes.
And let's take a look at the winner. I haven't even seen this one.
Oh, a different kind of tank. Oh, man.
Okay. Selected by Mr. Bitter. Congratulations, guys, for...
Mr. Bitter really just took the photo off his wall and scanned it into one of our local machines.
And then decided to give it away to a random user.
Thank you to everybody that submitted pictures. You guys are the winners of gold. Rotterdam was also involved in picking it, so those were the choices for you guys. 2,000 gold as well as a week of premium. And thank you guys for tuning in. We are done. We want to also congratulate everyone who's won. And want to tell you guys to tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. We'll also have a broadcast with the round of 16 for WGLNA qualifiers. We are done. Boys, any last words before we send off?
Thanks to everyone for showing up for these matches tonight. We had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too.
Yes, we did have a lot of fun. Join us on Twitter. He is Rukil, Ruukil. I am Greytorp. He is Frodan, and we'll catch you next time.
From the Rancho Cucamonga Studios, California, we are going to sign off for tonight from Frodan, Greytorp, and Rukil. Have a good night, and see you guys tomorrow on the battlefield.